Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday afternoon. Hope yours is going well. And it's that time of the week again, guys. It's time for us to sit down and talk about the next Seattle Seahawks game. The Seattle Seahawks traveling across the country to play the Philadelphia Eagles, who are in a dogfight. And I use that term as loosely as possible, but it is a dogfight for the NFC East. So, we're a little further away from kickoff right now than we usually would be since, well, we're playing on Monday night this week. Monday night, nationally televised game under the lights in Philadelphia. A chance to start a push to the playoffs. A chance to start impressing people on our way to the playoffs because, well, the next few games we play are against substandard competition. These are teams that we should not only beat, these are teams we should handle without much drama. So, how we do in these next 4 games may very well determine what kind of momentum we have for the important games. The Week 16 game against the Rams, closing out the season against the Niners, who may or may not be completely done by the time that game comes around, and then hopefully going into the playoffs. But it all starts Monday night in about 50 hours or so, 50 hours from now. Kickoff. What do we got? Well, mostly going into this game, I think it's pretty good news. I don't think anybody is surprised that Brandon Shell is out. He didn't practice at all this week. He clearly got injured against Arizona, and it looked much worse than it ended up being, but I had no doubt that he was going to miss at least a couple of games. Travis Homer's out, but whatever. We can live with that. I think we all know how I feel about Travis Homer, and I think it's probably how almost everybody out there feels about Travis Homer. Other than that, we are pretty clean. We might not have Jordan Simmons, but it looks like we will. Kyle Fuller, we'll see. DJ Reed, we'll have to see. Freddie Swain, we'll have to see. David Moore showed up on the injury report, but he may very well play. And other than that, we avoided major incident going into this game. Lockett, full practice, ready to go 100%. Posick, ready to go, and that's a big one, especially in this game. Mayowa, ready to go. Jamal Adams, no dramas. Dwayne Brown, Shaquille Griffin, Chris Carson, Mike Upati. These guys are ready to suit up and play a full game at full strength, according to the coaching staff. So, we got some of our guys back, and that's big. I will say that this would be a good game to have Brandon Shell, because if the Eagles have one thing on their team this year, if the Eagles can do one thing well, it's get good play out of their defensive line. So at the very least, at least we have our guards, at least we have Dwayne Brown, at least we have Posick. But the first thing I'm looking at when it comes to this game with the Eagles is their defensive line. And that defensive line is a major reason why the Eagles have had a pretty good pass defense so far in 2020, even though their defense as a whole has not been very good. This Eagles defense has Fletcher Cox as the centerpiece, I would say, and then you've got guys like Brandon Graham and Derek Barnett. It seems like they're all going to play, according to the latest word that I was able to get. It seems like they're all going to play, and they should have a pretty good opportunity to eat against Cedric O. And that's right, we got to talk about the man, the myth, the legend. His music is playing over the loudspeaker. Cedric O looks like he's going to get the start, and the only good news I have for that is that it looks like Jamarco Jones is going to be ready to play, and it looks like he's not going to start at guard because we're going to have Upati and Lewis. So, yeah. If Cedric O is the Cedric O that I think he is, and he goes out there and gets obliterated at right tackle, because that's what he's done in every single play he's gotten so far this year, pretty much, we can throw Jamarco out there. And I think Jamarco Jones, even though I have issues with the way he plays tackle, I still remember him getting destroyed by Chandler Jones last year. I think he's probably better right now than Cedric O. And hopefully, if Cedric does not start the game well, the coaching staff will see it in my way. That's really the only concern I have in this game, because if you take a look at what the Eagles have done so far this year on defense, they're not very good against the run. They're not terrible, but they've given up a lot of yards on the ground. Some of that is because teams are running the ball a lot against them, in fairness, but They've given up a lot of ground on the ground this year, and we're getting Carson back. We've got Carlos Hyde back. You can't ignore DJ Dallas either. I think Alex Collins is still back there. If he may or may not be active though. So we've got our running backs back. Our pass protection is going to be tested a little bit without our right tackle, and to top it all off, we may have a bad weather situation in Philadelphia on Monday night. It's not known for sure, but it's possible the weather will not be great against the Eagles. So if you put it all together, I suspect we will be leaning heavily on the running game in Philadelphia. And you guys know how I generally feel about that when it comes to Seahawks football. I think that the way to victory for the Seahawks is a pass-first offense. However, I also recognize that this team has shown a propensity for not playing well in bad weather. I've noticed that Wilson, when he struggles, a lot of the times it's in a bad weather game. This offense in general seems to struggle in bad weather games. So if we end up going in there and having a slightly more run-happy attack, I'm not going to be too upset about it. I don't want to get away from what this team does best. And what this team does best is big plays to Lockett, big plays to Metcalf. Big plays to David Moore. I'll even throw him in there too because he's having a pretty solid season last week notwithstanding. But yeah, I think that we may run the ball a little more than usual against the Eagles, and I understand why we might want to do that. The Eagles' pass defense has been pretty good this year. However, I do want to draw attention to one thing in this game with the Eagles' pass defense, and that is the height of their defensive backs. Darius Slay is 6 feet tall. Avonte Maddox is, I think, 5'9", which is literally shorter than me, which, I mean, that just feels weird to say. So DK Metcalf and his 6'6", 6'5", whatever he is, everybody's got a different theory there, but however big DK Metcalf is, it should be a great opportunity for him to do whatever he wants against defensive backs that just simply can't physically match up to him. So, opportunity for DK to go off, weather permitting. And my understanding is that the weather may improve as the game goes on. So, if that happens, and we end up needing to, look for this team to open it up a little bit as the game goes on, get the ball into the hands of Metcalf, and just let him go win some matchups because of his height. Speaking of height, we may see Colby Parkinson out there as well, and perhaps we can line him up at wide receiver and do some similar things with him. He'll have like a 10-inch advantage of height on Avonte Maddox if we can get that matchup somehow. So if we can get that matchup somehow, maybe there's an opportunity to make a play in the red zone. But yeah, that would be my thoughts on our offense. I'm a little worried about not having Shell, but it looks like we're going to have pretty much everybody else at this point. Let's just go ahead and get it done against a defense that is not playing terribly this year and can generate some pressure with their front four, but otherwise should be able to run on them, should be able to get some plays on their defensive backs, and that should take care of it. As for the Eagles offense, I haven't mentioned it yet because I don't really have that much respect for anything on that Eagles offense right now, except for Miles Sanders. He's a good running back. The Eagles have had some success running the ball this year, but as a Carson Wentz fan, I like that dude. I loved that dude back in 2017. I thought he was good in 2018. I thought he was even decent in 2019. It's gone. It's just gone, and I don't think it's coming back at this point. He may be the worst starting QB in the league right now, and that's saying something. That's not easy for me to say because I've always liked Carson Wentz, but he may very well be the worst starting QB in the league. They don't really have receivers yet. Zach Ertz looks like he's not even going to play, so we're looking at Dallas Goedert. It's a bit of a mess, and their offensive line, which was once upon a time as good an offensive line as you could find in the NFL, doesn't look like we're going to have Lane Johnson, may or may not have Jason Peters, and Jason Peters is well past his prime and playing injured anyway. Looks like we are going to have Kelsey, but it's not looking good for that Eagles offense at all. The best I can say is that the one game the Eagles played on offense this year that really kind of impressed me was against the 49ers. They put up some points on a pretty good 49ers defense, and they put Wentz on the move a lot. Carson Wentz used his legs a lot. Maybe that may be the only thing Carson Wentz really has left in his arsenal at this point. He can use his legs a little bit to make some plays. Travis Fulgham, decent wide receiver, and our secondary tends to make decent wide receivers look a lot better than decent. But I don't know. I just don't have too much fear. I think this defense is starting to turn the corner. It won't ever be a great defense. It may not even be a good defense, but it can be decent. It can be okay. It can be below average, and the team will be fine with that. So, looking for Shaq to have a pretty manageable game in his first game back from injury. Looking for DJ Reed, if he does manage to suit up and get out there, he'll have a pretty reasonable matchup as well in this game. And yeah, just got to stop the run, which, hey, it's one of the things that the defense has been doing pretty well this season. They had a couple of bad games against the Vikings and kind of against the Rams, but we've been able to stop the run pretty well this year. And I have no doubt that the Eagles, because their pass offense has been doing what they've been doing this year, are going to try to lean heavily on Miles Sanders. So take care of that, blow up their decimated offensive line, get to Carson Wentz, and this should be a good game to force some turnovers as well, because Carson Wentz has been turning the ball over like nobody's business this year. He turns the ball over in every game the same way Wilson was turning the ball over in the Buffalo and Los Angeles games. So, I don't know. I feel pretty good about this one, guys. The weather is the only thing that makes me blink, and even then, it's like if the weather's bad, that could have a negative effect on the Eagles' offense, and the Eagles' offense doesn't need anything getting in their way right now because they're that bad right now. And yeah, I think that's going to do it. Yeah, that's all I can say about this one. The only other thing I want to throw out there is the possibility of seeing Jalen Hurts in the second half. Because if Carson Wentz starts this game bad on national TV at home, you may very well see him hit the bench in the second half. So defense, prepare for the possibility of us seeing Jalen Hurts out there. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Stream tonight for the Huskies game. Come and watch it with me. There's going to also be some streams tomorrow for Red Zone during the day, and we're gonna have fun watching football. Peace out, go Hawks, and let's move to 8-3 and get this home stretch started right.